Hey, this is Rebecca Dirks with PremierGuitar.com. We are here on stage with Trivium talking to Corey about your guys' live rigs, and basically the whole thing is here, right?
Yeah, you guys came on the day where the whole normal rig has been gutted since we're flying with everything to Australia, but it's pretty straightforward. Both Matt and I's rigs are pretty much almost like exactly identical. Just goes from the guitar to the wireless, wireless to the Fractal, Fractal directly into the PA, and then mine's the exact same thing except I got a Dunlop rack wah after the wireless into the Fractal, and it's pretty straight to the point. Pretty much all the magic happens in the Fractal. It's like the only thing we use for all the tones and everything. So we wanted to have a rig for, we do a lot of flying into gigs and going to countries where you have to rent gear. And we had, they don't usually get very good gear. So after I got a Fractal and everything, and once we started using those, and they're just, these things, you can actually bring them on as carry-ons on the plane. So we just can bring them everywhere we go and not have to worry about shipping a big case or heads or renting gear and stuff. So it's kind of more cost efficient and more consistent tone-wise. So this makes everything so much easier, and then everything's already programmed in, so you don't have to worry about some stage dude knocking your knobs or being inconsistent. So yeah, it's a pretty simple setup, and it's been working out amazing for us.
Right, and so how are you using the Fractal? Like, how do you have it set up as far as patches or presets go? Do you have something just programmed for specific tones or songs?
We're pretty, I guess, as far as the amount of patches, we're pretty low key on that. Once we got the Fractals, we just kind of replicated the settings that we used in the studio. Emulated all the same, I guess like the tube heads and pedals and stuff we used in the studio. So we just programmed that into for the rhythm patch and kind of tweaked it a little bit, since it's a little obviously different than the studio. And Matt's is really simple. He's just got like a rhythm patch and a lead patch and a clean patch. And then I got like 2 different leads, a couple different cleans for, there's a couple different parts on the records that need a slightly different tone. And then we trigger everything with one. I have no idea where they are right now, but we have the Voodoo Lab ground controls, and Matt just uses it as like a channel switcher, and I have mine as a channel switcher plus like, it's like the four in a row where the top 8 are all like, you can trigger specific effects off the thing. So I can use a rhythm channel and turn a phaser or flanger on and stuff like that. So it's kind of like having a little stomp box action. So my Fractal patch settings have a lot more stuff in there that are bypassed that I can trigger, because Matt just he's always singing and stuff. So I do all the if there's something that needs to be added on to the part or whatnot, I can have all that stuff with pitch shifters and harmonizers and stuff like that. So it's been cool having everything built in, bringing less gear. You can do a little bit more fancy stuff within the unit to kind of create some cool sounds and mimic stuff in the record without having, we have a lot of parts that have like harmonized guitar parts, and then I can do the main part and the harmony by myself, and Matt can still play the rhythm, so there's no dropout in the overall sound live and everything. So this thing's been pretty awesome to have for trying to I guess replicate everything that we do on the albums without losing anything with only having 2 guitar players. So
Sure. And what are you using any of the effects patches? Are you triggering them on your floor controller pretty regularly, or is it just whenever you kind of feel like you need a little?
Mostly during the set, it just goes between rhythm and the lead patch, and then there's a couple little parts, like for a short little thing I might add like a flanger for like a little part.
Any specific songs?
Actually, in the first track off our new record, In Waves, there's a part, like the actual album didn't have it, but I just kind of did it live just because it sounded cool. Yeah. Gives it like this cool sound, and so I did that. And there's a couple stuff from songs from the previous record that have like short little phaser parts on it and stuff. So I never used to really add that in there because I just didn't really care to have like a big elaborate guitar rig. So this is kind of like the I guess the compromise or whatever. I could do all the crazy stuff without having to bring like a giant ass crazy pedal board or have a really complicated setup, because nothing's worse than having a complicated rig and then something going down in the show and you have to troubleshoot on the spot and just it doesn't work. So yeah, it's pretty, the signal routing is really easy. We've never had any issues with anything. It's all the gear we have is, really top of the line, sturdy stuff. So it's been able to withstand the thrashing around in a trailer and everything like that. So.
All right, excellent. Well, let's see if we can sneak back here. We may or may not be able to, and check out the guitars. You use all Jacksons, right?
Yeah. This is my main 6 that I've been using I just got it probably like 2 weeks ago on this tour. It's my signature model, prototype, I guess. So it's really cool, great sounding guitar. So I run this pretty much majority of the set, and then I have a 7-string that we do a couple tracks on too. That's the exact same, different paint, but same kind of design, but it's a 7-string obviously. But yeah, it's really cool. It really helps in the dark. Got glow in the dark fret markers, which is lights up, looks like a lightsaber, kind of neat. So yeah, this is really cool. Sounds really great through the rig.
And what are the pickups in there?
Yeah, these are the Seymour Duncan Blackouts. They're like the newer ones they have for 6-string, where they got like the chrome covers on them. So they kind of look like the Dave Mustaine live wires in a way, because they're not like the typical Blackout, just the flat matte black or whatever they call it. So I kind of like these more because kind of pop out a little bit. Yeah, so it's pretty simple setup for metal. It's just got the toggle switch and a volume knob. So it's pretty much just a straightforward metal guitar. You're not going to be doing any jazz on it, because I pretty much wanted it simple. It's pretty much exactly how I play. Usually if I have a tone knob, it's always on the whole way. I never screw with that, so it's like, why even have it? So yeah, it's just really killer guitar. It's got the unfinished neck, shreddable Jackson style. So
and your 7-string is exactly the same, except a 7-string more or less?
Yeah, pretty much. It's just a trans black version, and then it's got like the same setup and everything. It's just got a reverse headstock, which kind of looks badass on a 7-string. So yeah, it's pretty much same version. And so those are my 2 main guitars. I have a couple other ones, but I never play them.
All right.
They're just for backup. But
and you said that that's a prototype for your signature?
Yeah, this was the one that was displayed at NAMM a couple weeks ago, and this is pretty much this and the 7-string are what's and another guitar that I haven't brought out yet, but this is pretty much the basis for what's going to be coming out later in the year.
Nice. Very cool.
I'm being Matt's guitar representative today, but this is his main guitar. I believe this is the first Les Paul he ever got when he was like 14 or whatever, and he pretty much records most of the albums with it, and has a little bit of modification. You got like the gold EMGs in there, but it's pretty much just like an old, I guess, Les Paul custom Black Beauty, I believe it's called. And yeah, he's a big Les Paul dude, so he's been rocking this ever since I've known him, pretty much.
And that's his main one.
Yeah, and also this guitar, I believe, is, or it looks exactly like the one, but this is pretty much his, he's doing a signature guitar with Epiphone, and they're pretty much just they're basing it off this model. So this will be it once they get that done. But it's pretty straightforward. It's I guess the only thing different from the original when he got it was just the EMGs, but everything's pretty much true to the original, I guess, the way he bought it. So.
And when it comes to strings and string gauges, what are you guys using?
We use Duncan, not Duncan, yeah, Dunlop. My bad. I'm thinking pickups. We use Dunlop strings. I think we both use the same gauge. I know I use like 10 to 52s and then 7-strings 10 to 63s. And there's a couple custom gauges. I think it's either the G or the D. They're like a one gauge thicker. Okay. So it's a little bit of a custom setup, which kind of for the drop tuning stuff works a little bit better. So we use that, and we also use like Dunlop picks and all that stuff. So I think that's it.
What gauge picks do you use?
I'm not really sure.
What color?
Well, if you buy like the normal ones, they're the green ones, okay. Which I never remember the thickness, but yeah, they have the Trivium logo on it, but they're the same ones as the green ones. And then Matt uses those Tortex Jazz 3s, those little itty bitty things. I think he uses the ones that have like the grips on them. They're like the newer versions. So that's what he uses. And then other than that, I think that's pretty much covered all the bases.
Yeah, no, I think we got it from start to finish. Well, thank you very much for taking some time before the show to talk about your gear.
No problem.
This is Rebecca Dirks for PremierGuitar.com.